Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody is super well. Welcome back to the space of Nina Sachs and Nicole Angelica Panzer, where we share with you on a monthly or bi-monthly schedule about what's been happening for us, what our goals are, how we are moving through those challenging situations and those euphoric situations. And this is why we have the recording today, because Nina and I were chatting earlier on, as we do, and we have our little catch up. And I was like, stop right there, because this needs to be on the recording. So Nina, my dear friend, take it away.
Oh golly, so this is funny. This is a hard one for me because I don't like admitting when things kind of like go wrong, or I don't know what I'm doing, or when there's no plan in place. And so when you were saying record, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I'm ready to share. But I think like I was telling you, I'm just in this space where like there's this pause and stuff needs to come up and process, and I need to be okay with not finding a solution, not having a way forward, like just allow the moment to be the moment. So what questions do you have? What do you want to know?
So it's interesting because, from yoga teacher to coach to naturally living with Nina. And I know from my side, in the yoga class, I'm always like, surrender, relax, go with the flow, allow the pause. So what is it within the pause that you are finding? Okay, you just said, yes, it's the catching yourself and not finding a solution. It's the catching yourself and allowing yourself to just be. What is the most challenging part of that for you?
I think the most challenging part for me is I'm a really good problem solver, and I love just taking action and doing stuff. So like if there's a problem, work it out, write it out, go and throw marketing copy together, put that out there, or whatever the story is. And I just feel that this time it's not about doing something to get a result. Like I've just got to be in the discomfort of what is arising. And that is a new challenge for me. So instead of doing to solve a problem, it's just being present with the space I'm in, which is a space of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, to be honest. Like that's what it feels like. And it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. It's just like a temporary measure where it's kind of like you're throwing all the spaghetti up, in the air. And now you kind of got to see like how things are landing. And it's not trying to like catch the spaghetti like mid-air and, just let it land and work it out from there. So I don't know if that analogy worked at all, but that's kind of like I'm feeling like I'm in.
That's where your brain is at. Spaghetti. That's interesting. So how do you know this time round, like did you try and solve the problem? Did you try and just get through it and it just didn't work? So for you, it was like, okay, this is not a problem solving thing. This is I need to leave this to kind of solve itself. How did you differentiate?
That's such a good question. I think I just intuitively knew this was something I needed to be with. Because I know I can work it out in my head, the answer, the solution, if that makes sense. Like that I know I can do. I think the struggle for me is to be quiet and allow what needs to arise so that it can be the right thing, instead of going from the mental analytical side of things, but coming more from that gentler, softer, feminine aspect. Because a lot of the work that I have been doing has been very much from the brain, which often we need to operate from, but I feel like I haven't been utilizing that intuitive sense enough to my full capacity. And it just, I think maybe because the last month I was stepping into more of that space, I was like, okay, let that arise. And now there's like that strong yearning where it's like, okay, this is not the time to push. This is the time to step back and just to be. And like you're saying, there's nothing that is really that I can say, like, you know, A, B, C, and D has led me to feeling this way. I just intuitively know that this is what is needed.
Yeah, it's so interesting, you know, because, you know, being entrepreneurs and being our work, right? You have to almost be able to be that marketing person. You have to be able to be that person that pushes, you know, the product or the course or whatever out there, creating it, you know, all of that, which often is very much, the marketing side of it is very much in our masculine, you know, that shout out and that organization and putting everything into place. And it's so interesting because the feminine side of it is the creativity, you know, it's in the holding, it's in the waiting, it's in the patience. So to really learn to balance those out beautifully is quite a challenge. And it's interesting because, and we'll get to me later, but I'm exactly on the opposite end of the spectrum.
It's so interesting often how the two of us mirror each other in the opposite. And it's lovely to have a partner like that, you know, where we can see and we can be with each other and kind of like, I can egg you on with like, okay, you're in your masculine, so like, cool, step into it, like go, and you can be like, okay, cool, Nina, let's see how you're going to unravel and, you know, how you're going to collapse and be in tears, like this is your time to, like, you know, be in that space. And I think it's hard for us, especially, you know, for those of us who helping and supporting others, you know, on their journey, like we always feel like we need to be the one to keep, you know, that keeps our shit together to help others if we're seen as the healer or whatever it is. And we also need to be able to go through that process where we can unravel ourselves and have a little, not quite meltdown, it's not the word I'm looking for, but just realize that we don't have to have all the answers and that we can rely on others for support.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's, you know, once again, that's just what makes it so real, you know, is that we most certainly don't have all the answers. We might think we have all the answers for ourselves, but
and for everything else,
very often we don't either. But I feel the more people that I have come in contact with and the more people that I have worked with, the more being able to take that step back and say, okay, you know, this is how I can present whatever I can see. And then I kind of need to pull back. I just need to apologize for the noise because we have a whole empty plot next to us now.
I can't actually hear anything.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So I found that very interesting. And I don't know if it's the same with you, because you are, you know, you've been holding a lot of space for group activity, you know, and within that group you will have the daisies, the daffodils, the sunflowers, you know, and how each beautifully contributes to the circle, but yet also, you know, having to know how you can reach out and be of assistance, and then at the same time pull back to allow them to come to the realization themselves, because isn't that really where the medicine is?
Yeah. And that's such a beautiful analogy with kind of like the flowers in the garden. And that's exactly kind of like the space that I've created with like my group. And I was chatting with someone else before as well. And like, we were just chatting about like, because I was going like, well, what are my strengths? Like, yes, I'm a yoga teacher, but like what, and it is exactly this ability to create like a safe, nurturing space for others to come and for them to shine and light their unique selves. And have that safe space for that little daffodil to shine, for that sunflower to shine, and not for the daffodil to think it needs to be like a pink rose or whatever the story is. Like everyone can come and be their unique selves and express themselves in the way that they need to. And so that is one of the things that has come up today for me, I think 3 times now, or 3 different conversations, that I give people the space to be able to do that. And that is a gift, because not everyone is able to do that. Other people, are really good at doing other things. Clearly, one of the things I'm good at is, creating a safe space for those beautiful flowers to vibrantly live and thrive. So thank you for that analogy.
But how interesting is it now that the mirror is turning, and because you've created this beautiful safe space for your community, now it's like, okay, where's your safe space, Nina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
how are you unraveling?
Exactly.
How are you shifting us through the changes and integrating everything that you've been holding? How does that now? It's beautiful.
It is. And that's exactly it. It's like all the little flowers in there, they're so beautiful, so vibrant, that I'm in a space where I can step back and I can relax and I can be like, okay, I can release, the stuff that, I need to release, and be and be supported by those that are there for me. Which, yeah, I like that analogy. Thank you for bringing that to my awareness. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yay.
Cool.
So do you want to share with us what is coming up for you for the last 2 months of the year?
Really good question. I was doing a little bit of reflection work last week, and the thing that kept, again, this is just coming to my mind now, that I am going to operate from intuition. Like that's what needs to happen in these next 2 months. It's like everything that I need to do and how I'm operating needs to arise intuitively. So that's what I'm going to work on. It's get out of like the head and the do and just allow intuition to guide, which is, I think, how I naturally operate a lot of the time, but I don't acknowledge it. And maybe that's more it's the acknowledgement of the intuitive way of operating and teaching.
The awareness and the being in it. Yes. Beautiful. I love that.
And the honoring of it, and realizing that is one of my superpowers. Like
yeah,
that is what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you hadn't done that in the past, and if that wasn't a thing for you and a connection for you, you wouldn't be where you are now. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll just give like a really quick example, because it comes to mind, like in our session on Monday, and it happened the week before. One of the participants had a toothache, one of the other participants had a sore leg, the other one had a headache. And so we did this practice of, I don't really know what it's called, like chatting with the body part. So we went into like a little bit of meditation, and then I was asking kind of like, the tooth, like, what is it that this person needs to know? And it was a practice that just intuitively came to me, like, this is what was arising in the session. I was like, I haven't really done this practice before too many times, but let's just go with it. And afterwards, everyone was like, that was helpful. That was just what I needed. So it wasn't like lesson plan or whatnot. It was just it was a skill that I'd acquired along the route. It came to me in that moment and I used it. And because it was so helpful, again, one of the other participants had said, can you please do this with me, in the session today as well?
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So it's just
absolutely
stepping more into that. That's what I'm going to be doing in the next 2 months.
That's awesome. Love that.
Thank you, my friend.
Pleasure.
Lots of love.
Over and out from here. Thank you guys for listening. Sending so much love to you all, and we'll be back soon.